What's up guys? So in this video I'm going to review Phrase.io. We're going to look at the pros, the cons, how it works, how to use it, and whether it will help you rank higher on Google with SEO. Now, Phrase.io is a very interesting tool for optimizing content. So if you want to save a lot of time with SEO, if you want to improve your content, if you really want to take the quality up to the next level, then potentially this is a valuable tool, but you'll find out more later in this video. By the way, before we jump in, please make sure you download my free book, Link Building Mastery. If you want to get more backlinks to your website, if you want to increase your website's rankings, if you want to get more traffic, leads and sales to your site, then this book is seriously going to help you. You can get it at SEOjulian.com for free. And seriously, if you want 9 tried, tested and proven ways to get backlinks to your website that actually work, make sure you download that. Now let's jump straight into the video. So what is Phrase.io? Well, basically this is a tool that helps you optimize your content so that you can rank higher on Google. So it basically reverse engineers for your particular keyword that you want to rank for. Let's take, I don't know, say you want to rank on the first page for search engine optimization on Google, right? Phrase would basically analyze your top competitors who are already ranking on the first page of Google, help you understand what headers, what questions they've included, what keywords they've included, and then you can create a piece of content that's optimized in a similar way, but potentially better than your competitors so that you can outrank them. And it does most of the analysis that would normally take you hours to do manually in just a few minutes. So it can be quite a powerful tool if it's used in the right way. Now, in terms of pricing, we can check that out on their website here. So you can see if you're using Phrase content to answer questions in search engines, then and to optimize your content, then this will cost, for a basic package, $45 per month. If you get the team package where you get more users on your account, maybe you have a writer on your team, maybe someone who edits the content, or even a VA who takes the content and then posts it on your website, well then you could use the team account, and from there you could scale up your content process and outsource it to your team instead. So how does Phrase.io work? Well, let me show you an example, right? So basically, once you've logged in, you're going to see a dashboard that looks like this, and it's basically got all of the outlines you've created so far in terms of optimizing your content. So what you can do is click on new document here, and let's say you want to create a new blog article. You want to make sure it's optimized for SEO and you're not sure how to go about it. Well, what you can do is type in your target search query. So what keyword are you trying to rank for on Google? Let's take, for example, Phrase.io review. Let's do that as a keyword, right? You can choose which folder to save it in if you want to keep things organized and that sort of thing. And then you're going to hit create document. Now you can also, before we do that, you can also optimize existing content too. So you can take a piece of content that you've already created, maybe it's not ranking, maybe you want to improve it, or it's on the first page of Google but you want to get it to that number 1 spot. Then you can click on optimize existing content, which we'll come on to in a second. But for now, let's focus on creating a new document, right? So what this is going to do is it's going to take a couple of minutes to load, and basically it's going to analyze all of your competitors on the first page of Google for your particular keyword. So in this example, we're using Phrase.io review, and we're looking at how can we optimize our content before we write it to make sure that it ranks on Google. Now, the cool thing is that this basically automates the blog outline process, right? So if you go to the right over here, you can see recommendations in terms of word count, headers, links you need to the page, and images. And this is basically an average of your top competitors on the first page of Google who are already ranking. So it looks at what's successful already, what's working for your competitors, and then how can you reverse engineer that process. So you can see, for example, that most blog articles on the topic of Phrase.io review that are ranking right now on Google have 1,400 words on average. They have 5 headers, on average 1 backlink to the page, and quite a few images, 8 images, right? And then as you scroll down, you can see who's ranking number 1 and what sort of headers they've included on the page. Now the cool thing is, when you're creating your outline here, you can actually put the headers into the document like that. So you can say, right, here's my structure. This is what I want to write about, or this is the outline that I want to give to my writer. And then you can click on the headings manually and pick them out like that. You can even, underneath that, if you want to maybe use some of the content that's already ranking for inspiration, maybe your writer wants to rewrite it, what you can do is include an example passage underneath the heading that describes what you should be writing about. So it's very useful. Now, as you scroll through, basically you will never run out of content ideas when it comes to Frase, because it has so much data on there, which is pretty cool. If we go to the header section, we can see all of the headings that you could potentially include. Not all of them are going to be relevant. For example, content research, create detailed content briefs. That may not be relevant to writing a Frase.io review. But if you can pick out the relevant headings manually, then this will save you a lot of time, because otherwise you'd be sat there researching competitors manually, maybe trying to create headings yourself, not really sure of what to write, and this saves a lot of the thinking process for you. So it's pretty useful in that aspect. And then you can also see what sort of links people have included in their articles. And as you can see, as you'd expect, most people who have written about Frase.io review have linked out to Frase.io, which is their official website. And then finally, we've got the stats section. Now, quite often, if you're trying to sound authoritative and well referenced and add credibility to your content, then you would include some statistics in there too. And you can actually see what's commonly used from your competitors for this keyword in the stats section. So you can see these are the statistics that your competitors are using right now to add more references and authority to the content they're creating. And you can even filter that down by keyword. Now, another really cool feature of this is that if you go to questions over here, you can basically look at what questions are people asking right now. So when people type Frase.io review into Google, what specific questions and problems do they want to be answered? And you can scroll through the list, you can add some more in like this, and there you go. You got a ton of questions you could answer, or your writer can answer, and it's going to save a lot of the thinking process. You can even take questions that are commonly asked on Quora, on Reddit. There's actually no questions found on Reddit, but yeah, on Quora you can see. Now, one of the things that I would say with this is that not all the questions are relevant, right? So you still have to use a bit of common sense, right? For example, Frase.io review, Frase has suggested questions about cryptocurrency wallets or Michelle Obama's IQ. Somehow I don't think that's relevant to this particular keyword, so I wouldn't include those headings, and that's why you need to filter them out. But sometimes this section can be very useful. It really depends what you're searching for. And then also the people also ask section. This is quite useful because then you can see, right, what the FAQs people are asking for and how can you answer them. And then the final section is related. So what other pieces of content are there out there that are related to this particular search term? So you can see all these competing articles that are very similar to yours. And you could use them for inspiration. You could give them to your writer and say, hey, these are some examples of content that's already ranking that I really like. Maybe you could use that for inspiration. It's just going to save you a lot of time in the process. And the thing is as well, when it comes to blog outlines, the more detail and the more specific you can make your blog outline, the less room there is for failure if you're giving that to a team or even if you're writing it yourself. You basically, when you're preparing a blog outline, you're trying to save time up front. You're planning the article out so that when it comes to writing the article, you don't have to spend time wondering what to write about, and instead you can focus on the actual content. So I would say genuinely this tool will save you a lot of time. In fact, I'm going to show you some results after this that highlight just how well Frase is performing for me and my team. Now, if we delete all the content like that and we want to start from scratch, what you can also do is you can automate your content brief, right? So instead of doing all of that stuff manually, you can select all the details from this list, just click select all, and then click insert brief in the editor. And what that's going to do is create a content brief for you. So instead of going through the header section, the question section, and everything else manually, you can get Frase to do this automatically for you. It will save you a ton of time again. And then you just need to, give it a quick once over, a quick proofread to make sure that there's nothing irrelevant in there. So now you've basically got the whole content brief automated for you. And a job that would normally take like half an hour to do or 1 hour to do is automated in the space of like 2 minutes. So it's pretty cool. And then what you need to do is, just for the overview section, you'll probably want to include a deadline if you're giving this to a writer. Include some details about your target audience and the customer avatar you're trying to target, and then also the goal. So what are you trying to achieve with this article? How are you trying to help people? And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now what you can do is, if you hit share like this, then you can share your content brief. You can make it editable or private, and basically you could just copy the link, give it to a writer, they put all the details in, bing bang bosh, you're in. It's simple as that. So yeah, it's a very powerful tool. Now, like I said before, there are pros and cons to this, which I'll come on to, but at the minute, if you want to save time when you're creating content briefs, Frase is pretty useful. Now, how does it compare to Surfer? Well, Surfer SEO is another tool, very similar to Frase.io. In fact, I was using Surfer SEO before Frase came out. I really like both tools, but honestly, these days, when it comes to creating content briefs for my writers, I'm leaning more towards Frase.io. And that surprised me when I first bought the software, but it just saves me a lot more time. It's super user friendly. It's really quick to create content briefs on there. And the crazy thing is, Frase.io are just bringing out tons of features all the time. They're constantly updating the software. I noticed that they brought out some AI features recently, so it's such a cool tool. And yeah, I'm just really loving it for that. So yeah. So what are the pros and cons of Frase.io? Well, what I love about Frase.io is that it will save you time. Okay, it's a very powerful tool. You can automate most of it, and a job that used to take 30 minutes or 1 hour when you create content briefs is now done in like 5 minutes. Plus, it's usually a lot more accurate because you're using data from websites that actually rank on Google. And if you try to do this manually yourself, it's going to take you a lot of time. What I would say with Frase.io is, the problem is you have to use a lot of common sense with this tool, right? You can't just blindly create your content brief, hope it's going to rank using all the suggestions from Frase. You kind of have to filter out. You have to go through the list manually, pick out the headers that are actually relevant, pick out the topics that are relevant, eliminate questions that aren't really related to the topic because Frase will chuck them in occasionally. So that's a bit of a con and a bit of a downside, but at the same time, it's not magic, okay? And you have to do the work yourself. And also, it's sometimes good to scan through the tool manually, because then you're making sure the quality of the content briefs you're creating are actually good, and you're not just hoping that Frase.io actually has good content briefs. So when you scan it manually yourself, just use a bit of common sense, filter out the crap, and you'll have a much better content brief. So thanks for watching, guys. I really hope this video helped you. If it did, please smash a like on it. And by the way, I do run a link building agency. That's at juliangoldie.com. I'll leave the link in the description. And if you want to get more backlinks to your website, if you want to increase your rankings, if you want to get more traffic, then we can help you. In fact, feel free to book in a call via my website or drop us a message, and we'll be happy to help you get better rankings. And these are the tried, tested, and proven strategies. We've helped hundreds of clients increase their rankings, and I'm pretty sure we could help your website too. So thanks for watching.